Hey everyone, today we are going over how to play the new version of our Cold War server. If you are new or old to the server, this video should be watched before playing because it gives a really good understanding of how to play the server, and it also directs you to different resources where you can learn more details. What we built with this version is our most ambitious project ever. Keep in mind that our server is one of the largest, if not the largest server in DCS, and we decided to delete our entire code base. When I told some people that we were doing this, they were shocked. But I do not want this server to just be the same thing recycled over and over again. We did not want to rest on our laurels. That would have been easy, but that would have been boring. We want to use our size and influence to really reach and try to make something interesting and something that feels different each time. If this is your first time here, this channel focuses on multiplayer sim gameplay, so if you're into that, please subscribe. I'm very excited to show you what we have made, so let's get into it. The map is organized by hexagons, and there are three types: red, blue, and white ones. Sometimes the white ones may look black. The red ones are owned by red 4, blue by blue 4, but the white or the black ones are impassable, meaning that no one can own them. In this view, I am using the game master slot so I can see everything. This is to make understanding what is going on easier. You will note here the number of battalions or unit groups are not equally distributed across the front line. This is because they have been placed by each side's tasking engine. In teasing the new version of the server, everyone was very excited by the hexagons, but the most exciting thing about version 2 is not the hexagons, it's the tasking engine. Just like BMS, where you are a pilot in a big war that is managed by an AI commander, Yink, our lead developer, has built an AI tasking engine that manages each side that oversees a larger conflict. Your mindset when playing the server is exactly this: being a pilot in a larger conflict, and your actions along with the actions of others tally up to an overall effort. I will hand the mic over to Yink so he can explain in more detail how the tasking engine works.
Greetings everyone, my name is Yink and I'm currently serving as the lead developer on the ECW team. I've had the privilege of building out version 2 for the server and our new AI tasking engine. The engine itself is built around objective prioritization, with its primary goal being to conquer the enemy capital, with secondary objectives such as factories, depots, airfields, and other strategic points of interest. The engine dynamically weighs strategic importance and will prioritize attacking nearby strategic areas while defending its own. For example, a hexagon that itself seems to hold little strategic value becomes a priority because capturing and holding that sector will provide a better pathway for attacking nearby targets, such as a depot or an airfield. We're confident that a fresh take on DCS will be well received and provide a dynamic and creative campaign experience. Thanks for your time.
In each hexagon, you will notice a bar on the left side. This shows how much war material is available in each hexagon. You will also notice that the troops in a hex are stacked up on the border with the enemy. Because of DCS limitations, we cannot have the AI units fight each other. Instead, we simulate this in the background or in the code, similar to how BMS does this in their 2D view. Every 15 minutes, the server has a tick where it calculates everything. For the front line, it looks at how many battalions are on the border of a hexagon and calculates it against how many battalions are defending the other hex on that side. The side that has more units wins, and then attrition is applied to the losing hexagon and war material is reduced. The more units you have versus the other side, the more attrition you do per each tick. Once the enemy's war material reaches negative, the opposing tasking engine will realize this and pull its troops back, and the attacking side will occupy the hexagon. War material is deposited in each new occupied hexagon to give the new front line some staying power. Please note that the units will passively respawn on a set cadence, but war material is produced in a very specific way. They are independent of each other. We always want to make sure there are units somewhere on the front to attack. War material is produced in factories that are around the map. If you destroy the factories, then their overall capacity is reduced, but it will never truly reach zero. This is to make sure that the server remains playable. Every 15 minutes, the factories send their war material instantly to all depots. Depots act as warehouses and hold supply until it is needed on the front line. The tasking engine decides where the war materials should be sent based on its priorities. It may not send all the war material evenly across the map. It will skew it based on where it needs it. Players are able to constrain how much supply reaches the front line by attacking depots. This will reduce the cap that can be distributed. Additionally, the supply and logistical system is localized. Depots that are closer to certain sectors will supply those sectors more. Players will now have the ability to do high altitude recon to find infrastructure targets that are tied to the logistical lines. Each airfield has recon only slots where cameras have been fixed on the planes. These planes can be armed, but are the only planes that can do recon. High altitude recon is the newest addition. By using the F10 radio menu, you can start filming. The parameters that you need to stay within are listed on the FAQ. By flying over sectors and scanning through an entire sector, you will find the infrastructure targets. These will allow a team to then hit that infrastructure, and damaging it will reduce how much supply can pass through that sector. Please note that infrastructure targets will not be visible to players until they are found via recon. They exist in every single sector. Additionally, there is a low altitude camera on recon planes, and this works exactly how it works on the current server. You fly over targets while filming and staying in parameters. Land and your film will be developed and targets marked. If you are not flying in a good way, your marks may come up as inaccurate and give less information to each mark. Every 15 minutes is when the tick happens. The persistence of the mission is saved, and the amount of units alive in each sector is tracked. The health of depots, factories, and the state of SAMs at airfields is also saved. Lastly, the state of recon is also saved. Marks that are made will persist until they are destroyed or until units move. The existing units that are alive redistribute at every 4-hour reset. This should give players the ability to play in a more strategic manner. You can focus efforts on reconning infrastructure, striking depots in a localized way to weaken a broader part of the front, and then focus air-to-ground efforts in that area. This will slow down the supply to the front, and you will be able to grind down that part of the map quickly. Please note, infrastructure, factory, and depots repair naturally over time. The state of their health is really shrouded in a fog of war, where doing constant recon will reveal that. Very similar to now, helicopters work in a similar way, but in a more streamlined and expanded way. You are able to load regular infantry, special forces, and recon troops. Regular infantry work the same as now, dropping within a certain distance of enemy frontline troops, or SAMs will attack them, and you can pick up your troops to do more attacks. The new thing with infantry is they are now able to run if you drop them slightly out of range of targets. The exact parameters of this will be listed in the FAQ, and the reason why they are not mentioned here is that we are going to have to adjust these to find the right level. So make sure to read the FAQ. Recon troops are now specialized toward infrastructure and will find infrastructure in a hexagon. Special forces infantry attack depots and infrastructure. With the persistence in the campaign, helicopter gameplay can also play out over several hours or days, where you can really operate behind lines to find targets of opportunity. We are planning more with helicopters that tie in with the logistical and supply side of the campaign, but this will come in the future. Before we go into the rest of the video, I just want to have a quick summary of what we have covered so it is super clear. The frontline moves when the war material reaches 0 on a frontline hexagon. War material is lost by attrition. Who applies attrition is based on who has more troops on the front. If you want to stop the bleeding, then kill the enemy frontline. How much attrition is done is based on how many more units the more numerous side has relative to the fewer side. War material is replaced by the manufacturing and logistical side of the game. War material is produced in factories and sent to depots. It is then distributed to the front by the tasking engine. Infrastructure targets that are hidden are revealed only with recon, and this will allow you to disrupt and cut off how much supply can pass through the front. The spawn rules are simple. If you own a hex, you can spawn in there. This means that we foresee much more aggressive efforts to disrupt enemy air bases. If you don't want to get strafed, spawn further away. I have heard a lot from players that have been very nervous to enter into multiplayer and have spent a significant amount of time in single player. While we are here and you are there, I decided that we would put the extra effort and reach down into single player to provide a more curated training environment. We have partnered with Kuchen Mafia, who has made several campaigns. He is producing a single player campaign that teaches you the basics of the server mechanics.
There are 2 jets flying. Which one is the MiG-21? The left or the right aircraft?
One example mission being shown here is a simple IFF training mission where you have to identify which planes are here. This should help upskill the newer players as they enter the server for the first time. The single player campaign will come at a later date, but it is coming and a video breaking it down will come. If you want to help, then I ask that you leave a comment and liking this video. Additionally, subscribing to the channel really helps. The more engagement this video gets, the more people will see it, and you will save our collective time so we don't have to answer the same 2 questions on Discord every day. I would like to thank our community for their continued interest and support. Additionally, I would really like to thank the Patreon supporters who have continued to fund us so we can keep Overlord running and upgrade from a home box to a professionally ran server box so we can have more stability. While this is a hobby, the technical resources needed to support this does add up, and the Patreon really helps. On behalf of the Cold War team, we hope that you like the new concept. We think that this will help elevate things and keep things fresh. This is, after all, the most interesting era in DCS, and we hope that we are seen as the most interesting server in DCS. Let me know what you think. Thanks, and see you on the server.